Best of luck, Rampy.
Yeah, you too, man. Good luck.
I'm so
Should I roll
happy to
first,
be
or
watching this game.
Yeah, I don't know if they shuffled the decks or not, so you might want to.
true,
These
yeah.
players are both from
Yeah, I'm good
Australia
with Ira.
and very experienced with their decks. This is the finals
19.
match, and I am looking forward to seeing what happens. We are playing with a
I think I'll pick first. It's alright.
a rule where the
Okay.
second player gets to look at the top card of either deck after mulligans as a way to balance the first player versus second player advantage. And you can see just the way things are starting off. The fact that that Nick got a Wyvern got a pebbled path and now is considering mulliganing it. I am quite surprised by that. We'll see what he ends up actually doing, but we can see the Poweries in
I'll put 2 spells back.
Ranvir's hand. So that was an interesting choice. I guess it turned out to be a good call for
I'll do one of each.
For Nick, because the Poweries got
Oh, how do I do that to put him under? Locked up.
the Poweries got mulligan.
Right.
I'm surprised with that. I guess because of the threshold. I guess it was a threshold issue.
I just moved my deck around. Yeah, that's what I did.
Like that?
Yeah, that's what I did.
So they're fixing. This is the one disadvantage of playing over Tabletop Simulator, because sometimes the physics is not perfect. But it is a nice way of connecting with people around the world. So the league is totally free. Welcome to everyone, and it's a great way of playing a lot of different games. So obviously seeing an early Divine Healing for Archimago is extremely good. It will be interesting to see the placement of things. That Bedrock is pretty significant in this matchup, especially because we see the Root Spider as well as the Atlantean Fate, all of which are going to care quite a bit about that Bedrock. The fact that there's an Atlantean Fate
on the bottom
means that the 3 Earth threshold may be a little tricky for
right here
for Nick to hit. We'll see.
Good to go.
Yep.
Sweet.
All right, so off we go.
For a pond.
Pond right off the bat. There comes Tawny. All right, so it'll be interesting to see where that floodplain goes. On one hand, you're going to want it front and center. All right, so we see some very nice early game healing from Nick, and that's from Wyvern, and that's exactly what he wants to see early on.
Play Bedrock.
The Bedrock cannot be hit by the Atlantean Fate, so that is certainly a good start.
Oh.
So no two drop.
Floodplain. 20 up and pass.
So that floodplain is going to make it tricky for the Root Spider.
I'll copy the Bedrock.
Okay, so we get 2 Bedrocks. This will be effective.
Yes.
We don't see a third. We don't see a third or threshold yet.
No.
And also we don't see that second fire threshold. So Wulfinite is getting a little bit of a slower start than he would like.
I'll just tap for Remote Desert here, just ping that side. I'll attack here for 1. And I'll pass.
And nothing on turn 3 is obviously not great. I will be curious to see if we get a root spider or something else. I assume we're going to get a root spider because that way Tawny is disabled, and that bedrock,
you did, sorry.
And that bedrock right up front is, you know, completely safe from the floodplain. So I guess I can see why Nick Wyvern decided to mulligan to try and get to the bedrock, but that was clearly a key site in this matchup. I don't know if he knew in advance that this Druid was on water, because we've played a whole season of the league. There is some information about what the player may be playing. So we'll see what site gets played, where it ends up. I think he's just thinking through his turn. Would you play a root spider here? Or would you play an angel's egg? I think we're going to see a root spider. Root spider on the bedrock. Tawny is done, and that's that. Then what will happen probably is Wulfinite has a Colicky Dragonets, and he'll use the Colicky Dragonets to take out his own Tawny to get Tawny back. So definitely a strong defensive start for
side.
All right, so that's what he needed. That'll be a fire site. And we'll see, is he going to go wide and try and go around? I assume that he's going to try and go around. I don't know, maybe be tempted to go to 9.
I'll tap for
all
a
right.
Delight
and then
make this
perhaps
a fire side.
All right. I think we'll see the Dragonet.
And
doesn't make sense. I guess he's thinking about how far back to play them. Yeah, he's trying to prepare to set up.
Okay.
He's preparing to set up Ruler of Thule.
Got my 20.
This way he'll just ping the
spell.
Archimago for 1. All right, that's a well-timed magic missile. So the fact that there was a root spider under the bedrock is really significant here. If there was a root spider but no bedrock, or bedrock but no root spider, that would have been pretty different start to the game. So I think we're seeing a level of stability because of the. All right, let's because of those sites in that combo. What's going to happen? Who's teleporting
blink,
where? I don't know.
Blink nothing. I'll just yours.
All right, this is just cycling a card.
Do a spell.
I guess just to get more information. All right, so I assume we're going to see a tower. We have a lot of healing available. One mana left for the turn, but if you play. Okay, so just taking it nice and slow. I guess because of the healing, he's just not worried about taking some damage.
I'll tap for a side.
Is he going to play Ruler of Thule here? I feel like that's unlikely. I don't think you want to get your Ruler and your Dragonet stuck.
I'll pass, and I'll just ping you for 1 with Colkey.
Yep. So definitely a slower game, which favors Archimago.
Yeah, it did. It killed my 20.
Yeah, it killed Tawny. Yeah. So he's searching for his 3rd Earth Threshold. He wants to make sure he has that available.
Draw spell.
All right, pretty far away from casting Arcane Barrage. Is he going to tap to try and get to that third Earth? If he had a little bit of a... All right, so there's the Earth that he needed.
I'll cast this egg to the hands of
Angel's Egg on the Root Spider, obviously excellent.
Game 1.
Really excellent. So so you can see that Wulfinite prepared significantly for Root Spiders, but because of the bedrocks in this matchup, the Archimago is able to stay safe. So I think what we're just going to see is more sites showing up, and eventually Archimago will have non-bedrock sites that will not be able to be defended. I think that, so Wulfinite drew a Geyser, which is quite effective way of killing a Root Spider, but not on bedrock because it can't be flooded. So this Archimago came well prepared. It would have been interesting to see if the powers come down. All right, so we're going far away.
Bringing at 20.
There's Tawny, and we're just taking it nice and slow, I guess. I don't think it makes sense to come in with the Ruler of Thule yet. I do think that the Archimago, it would have been interesting to play on 14, because the Archimago, this deck only, really plans on winning, I think, with Crater Eyes, which requires 8 mana. So if you put a lot of pressure on the site placement, then it actually becomes somewhat difficult for them to...
I'll pass, and I'll ping you for 1.
Yeah, and then I'll game 1.
Yep.
For them to end up getting to 8. They have Earthquake, so there are certainly ways around it. But the fact that there is so little pressure in the early game is definitely to the Archimago's advantage. But I do think that Wulfinite, you can see we have the Infernal Legion. We see Ruler of Thule. We see Fire Breathing. So there are definitely ways of doing quite a bit of damage when we get to higher mana counts. So it will, this will be, a game with a lot of turns, which I think this Druid deck can take advantage of as well. I think that some people have mentioned that playing against Archimago requires a, really different way of thinking, because it's much more of a control-y deck, which is certainly true. But you can see the site placement here. If Wulfinite had placed on 14, then this site would have had to go on 19, I think. So that's an interesting situation. We're going to see a proactive Root Spider under the Archimago. Okay, very defensive.
And then I'll pass the turn to you in game 1.
All right, so is this definitely a slow going situation? That Root Spider on 18 is protecting against Ruler of Thule. So I think that Nick is, aware of this matchup, presumably knew that there was water involved, and is really
I'll tap for a side,
playing around it. I do think that the number of cards that the Druid deck has in hand right now, yeah, it's good to have cards, but if you can't play your spells, you're not applying pressure. So is Tawny going to move on to the Perilous Bridge and just get disabled again? Maybe.
I'll just attack you for 1.
Yeah.
I am not sure if this list plays anything that can deal with underground minions in Bedrock. Clearly, they can deal with underground minions not in Bedrock.
Pass. I'll ping you for 1 again, and you hit 1.
So the Kaliki Dragonettes are balancing out the Angel's Egg. We can see that the Berry and the Earthquake not as useful. So I would expect that another site is going to be played on 11. But I guess we'll see. So I'm not sure why.
Cast magic missiles, I'll kill you.
Nick is continuing to just draw sites instead of playing sites. I guess he's just staying pretty defensive.
Game 1.
Yep. All right. The fact that there's an Angel's Egg means that there has to be a fairly significant, amount of charge damage that's getting done, or like, not charge, but
Thank you for 1.
Yep.
Damage all at once. So I think we're going to see the Oasis come down on 11. No, that's surprising. I would have expected 11 and then the Poweries to charge in from the side from 11 to 12. And then if a Root Spider moved over to 12, then you can hit it either with Atlantean Fate, or you could hit it with a Geyser. I'm a little surprised that that's where the Oasis is being played. I guess we're just setting up. We're setting up for a Ruler of Thule is what's happening. But yeah, maybe Nick would like maybe Wulfinite would like to have Nick play on 11 and 16, and then the Atlantean Fate will do more. Yeah,
I'll play 4 for Fire Breathing this way on my Tawny. So the 4 will go there.
So I'll take 4. All right.
Yeah.
4 damage. And fire breathing costs 4, 2 mana left. Right. So I do think that it will be interesting to see how Nick can put on the pressure. I'm not sure that it makes sense to play the fire breathing now. I might have saved it for a little bit, but I guess we'll see. All right, that's 6 mana this turn. Could be Rita. It does get to attack for 6.
I think it's there.
All right. So Tawny's not going to untap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Plus, game 1.
Yep.
Tawny is still tapped.
Yeah, that one's tapped.
So there are quite a few options with charge, the Warhorse and the Poweries, but no easy target for where to place it. It would be possible with 7 mana to play a Geyser, but I don't think that's what we're seeing. sorry, Geyser plus Atlantean Fate would be enough to drown Rita on the ordinary. Not totally obvious to me. Maybe you just play the Infernal Legion on 9. So Wulfinite has an Infernal Legion that could potentially trade, but then could get buried. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation. Just haven't been able to put on a lot of pressure. And not a great way of dealing with Rita. You could do a 2-for-1, I guess, with the cat and the horse. Feels like a little bit of a waste, but
sorry, I was gonna say.
Good.
Yeah.
The site placement is, I think, really the tricky part. I guess maybe Warhorse plus Ruler of Thule. You get in, I don't know, 5-6 damage. But I think the issue is you definitely need more sites. All right, this is, I think, gonna get buried, and that will be quite bad, but that's the situation we're in. And the thing about these, yeah, the thing about these control control matchups is that the site placements can be huge. The fact that there were so few sites that were accessible for Wulfinite to attack, and then using that time there just wasn't. He built up a big hand, but he was not able to put on pressure, and even now, because of the site placement, is not able to put on a lot of pressure. But if sites had been played on 14 and then pressured on 19, those actually are very hard to move around with Earthquake because of the bedrock. And so it could have really locked in the Archimago for quite some time. And I think that at this point, we're going to see the success of the Archimago deck because of that very efficient bury and then this attack for 6. But I do think that these site placements were hugely important. I mean, it's hard to foresee everything, and I think this game would have been extremely different without those bedrocks, because we see geysers, we see Atlantean Fates. So both players were prepared, and sometimes you end up getting the sites you need. And to be fair, Nick did mulligan a pebbled path to try and get towards the bedrock, which was a lucky draw at that point, but that's why you build a deck. All right, so Common Sense for 2 mana, tap to play. So he has, oh no, that's 5 mana, sorry, because the Bury and Common Sense. So that's 5 mana spent.
I'll play Pebble Path there.
All right. Have a Pebbled Path.
And I think 5 mana. I'll pass 10 to you. Game 1.
I'll draw a spell.
So it's not clear to me how to deal with Rita. On one hand, you need to deal with Rita. On the other hand, You need to win the game. Tawny should be tapped right now. I will alert them. Tawny should be tapped right now.
Oh, yeah.
So you can see that if Wulfinite had spent some time drawing more sites for like 2 or 3 turns earlier, he would have 3 fewer spells in hand, but would be able to cast a bunch of them. So finding the right balance between spells in hand versus mana on board is, I think, one of the really fun challenges of sorcery, where you really have quite a lot of control.
Yeah.
All right, so Pond is showing up. I'm a little surprised there. I think you have to get rid of Rita this turn. I think there has to be the...
Play arrows here.
Okay.
3. I'll play a strike. Distract that. I'll just charge into it.
All right, so that was a 2-for-1. An efficient way of taking care of it. So now Tawny's going to start to untap. All right, so I think that was skillfully done. We're now going to see more attacks happening. So there's going to be an Atlantean Fate potentially on like the 11, 12, 17. And then that actually turns off Divine Healing. And definitely turns off Arcane Barrage. But we do still have the Dispel. So it would take care of whatever's there for that one turn. But I think what's going to be interesting is to have 2 cats cast back on 2, and then be prepared for 20 damage in one turn, which I think might be possible if you cast Ruler of Thule and the Warhorse. Maybe we're getting close to 20 damage in one turn.
4 mana.
Bruin also. It's going to be close. I think the plan for Wulfinite is Alpha Strike for 20 damage in one turn, and hope that you get there before Nick draws into the Crater Eyes. We see the Arcane Barrage. That's obviously can do a decent amount of damage.
Common sense.
So this thins the deck.
Get Power Light.
Cool.
All right, and we're seeing a substantial amount of cycling.
Cost Power Flight.
And the ordinary sites. The ordinary sites are doing a lot of work against Atlantean Fate. All right, so this is very interesting. So now we could get, we can see I wonder if the Druid moves over to 2 next, like right now. Druid moves to 2.
That's on untapped still.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's just
Actually, Tawny's untapped.
All right.
Yeah, so when you're facing facing Archimago at this stage in the
but
game,
then I was like, I don't want to distract you from your thinking.
There's a lot of strategy. I know some people. I've heard some players say, playing against Archimago, they don't use the
attack here.
They don't use the board.
Yeah.
But there's so much. So many choices that you have. So you can see Wulfinite right now has 2 Lugbog Cats, a Warhorse, a Ruler of Thule, and a second Infernal Legion, as well as a Geyser and Atlantean Fate. So there can be a massive Alpha Strike if Wulfinite sets up. Okay, so yeah, I'm not sure I would get Bruin right now because of the thing is that, the root spider is on 18. So you can't actually attack in with Bruin using Ruler of Thule, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm guessing cats, double cats. Okay.
So cat here for 3.
All right. So a couple of, I would have been tempted to put the cats on 2 so that they get the damage bonus from Ruler of Thule. But I guess we'll see. Maybe the thing is, yeah, because I think you have to do the Alpha Strike. Three mana left. And the thing is, the charge ability from Ruler of Thule starting on 2 will work to get to be able to charge into 17, because at the time that they take the move and attack action, they are not next to pebbled paths. And so the move and attack ability goes on to the storyline, and then it proceeds to resolve, and that's fine. So what's interesting is if you realize you need to Alpha Strike, which you do because of Divine Healing, then this any sort of chip damage just is irrelevant. So you really have to be planning for that. And there's just not that much. There's just not that much this Archimago can do. I guess it makes sense to put to spread them out, because you don't know that they have Divine Healing. It's certainly not guaranteed that they have Divine Healing. So, and I think probably Bruin showed up because Wulfinite was worried about a Craterize. So this way, by spreading them out, you do minimize your chances of getting blown out by a Craterize. But we see that the Archimago did not draw a site, which I think may be a little bit of a tell that they have either healing or not Craterize. I don't know.
Power of Flight.
All right. Power of Flight for 2.
That Root Spider Airborne. Not that it's almost certainly going to... Oh, did I? Did you hit me for 1 or 2 on you? Does anyone know if I gained the life? Did I gain the life at the end? Does anyone know?
You should be at 20.
I don't remember doing it. Yeah, okay. So I'll give the Spider Airborne. I'll draw a spell.
All right. I do appreciate that Wyvern is keeping precise track of his mana. Interestingly, Blink could allow him to draw a site, but he's not going that direction. I'm not sure exactly what he's looking for. So, yeah. There's no particularly effective way to play.
I'll kill the Bruin and hit you for 1 with 5-point Arcane Barrage.
All right. So Bruin just died. Okay, that's what Nick was looking for. Or that's what sorry, that's what Wulfinite was looking for. That's what Ranfir was looking for. So
Yours.
So I think we're gonna. I think the scary thing here is if you do not Alpha Strike, then. All right, so let's count how much damage. One cat is 4. The other cat is 5. That's 9. Tawny is 2 more. That's 11. The Druid is 2 more because root spiders don't work to defend against that. That's 13. Ruler of Thule is 3 more. So that's 16. 16 in one turn is not enough And you need also the Warhorse, and you need a Geyser. So if you just build up for one more turn, like I think that was 19, I counted. But that requires 2 for the Warhorse. Oh, the River of Flame. That is really good. That is a way to kill root spiders. If you have various effects underground, that River of Flame, holy cow. Even root spiders under bedrock you can kill. It's a little far away, which is sad. I just don't see exactly where it's going to go. But to play Ruler of Thule, Geyser, and Warhorse, you end up... Man, it's really close. It's really close.
Right, give me a sec.
You end up at 19. So if that cat had been on 2, it would have been enough. So many small decisions add up. So just imagine that second cat was on 2. Then they each do 5 with Ruler of Thule bonus. Plus Tawny is 12. Plus the Druid is 14. Plus the Warhorse. Plus the Warhorse is 17. Plus Ruler of Thule is 20. So you have to do that. You have to do that calculation, and then you need 8 mana to play Warhorse, Geyser, Ruler of Thule, and now you have 20 damage in one turn. If the Lugbog Cat was on the Oasis instead of on the Floodplain, and now you're 1 mana short. So playing against Archimago is very different, especially when they have healing, when they have root spiders. You're really looking to get all the damage done all at once. I think that he's thinking about Tawny because he's about to play the Atlantean Fate. So but I think you just
I'll make
yeah. All right.
Yep.
I think it's gotta. Oh man, so close. So close. And it honestly would have had Death's Door that turn with 8 mana. So I guess not that turn because he only has 7 mana. All right, so there were a few things that are different here. Yeah, so this sort of chip damage just does not make any sense to me. Why is Tawny retreating? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe what's happening is we're setting up the Infernal Legion. But then why not attack with Tawny?
Flame. Yeah.
All right. Where is it going to be? Like, if that Infernal Legion, the Infernal Legion could live on 2. And then if you don't kill that Infernal Legion.
Infernal Legion here.
All right. Yep. This is nice. Definitely putting out threats.
I'll just attack you for 1 with a Tawny.
All right, so we're doing a take back, and that's fine. The Tawny is attacking for 1. The cat is just sitting back.
Awesome.
So what I'm quite surprised by is, yeah, all right. No, this is also a totally valid and good way of going after Archimago, which is leave them at 16. Like, are you really going to play a Divine Healing for 3? Because they're going to be at 17 at the end of their turn. Are they going to play Divine Healing for 3? Do they realize the risk they're in right now? I don't know. This is exciting. Whoever says Archimago doesn't make exciting games, this is an exciting game. This has been back and forth. This is very close. That was 1 turn away from Death's Door. All right, so we're using the Arcane Barrage to kill off the Infernal Legion. Fair enough. I'm assuming. I'm assuming that's what's happening. No. What? Oh my gosh.
Cost Nimbus Gen.
No way.
Have
2 mana left.
Tower.
That's illegal.
Isn't
He
that
doesn't know
on
that
a
it has to be a
spell, though?
magic.
Sorry. So I'll just cast a Nimbus Gen for 6, and then I'll
Okay.
have the Merlin's Tower cast. I have 2 mana left.
Yeah.
And then I'll have the Merlin's Tower cast blink.
What?
3 less, so it'll cost 0.
Death's Door.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure the board state is clear so everybody sees.
Move it here for a spell.
They need to see that there's a root spider there and an
then
angel's eye.
cast blink.
Double blink. Look at this. So that's a pretty cool play too. We're getting double Death's Door. Nice way of getting the Nimbus Gen into position.
And then I'll use the Nimbus Gen ability.
Yep.
So that was a 10 mana play. And last turn, if the Druid had things positioned slightly differently and had 8 mana, then Archimago would have been at Death's Door.
And Philosopher's Stone, hit you for 3. Blink and hit you for 3. Divine Healing and hit you for 3. And Lightning Bolt and destroy you.
Oh.
All right. So seems pretty hard to get it out of that without Bruin. Yeah, so one of the things I wonder about with Druid is when exactly do you play Bruin? Because if you play him on the turn that you're going to Death's Door, maybe you end up surviving a little better. I don't know.
I'll draw a spell.
All right. So I think he's going to at least get him to Death's Door. I don't exactly see how you take care of the Nimbus Gen and the Lightning Bolt and the Arcane Barrage. I will say that Wulfinite never saw a Funeral Pyre. I'm sure that he has 3 Funeral Pyres in his sights and never saw it.
Okay.
I don't know how you take care of all of these problems.
I'll swing here for 6 for sure.
All right. So yeah. Also, if there was a Courtesan Thias, that's a way to steal the win too. So Courtesan Thias is extremely effective against Archimago.
Attack here for 4.
Yep.
All right, so he has to get him to Death's Door right now. I don't know exactly how to do that. I think you start with a Geyser. Yeah, the Arcane Barrage is going to be a problem. Lightning Bolt's a problem. Yeah, they're just a few too many threats. Warhorse can get you pretty far away. Yeah, I think if the Druid needed to be over it 2 and then get Bruin, and then you're set up for this massive attack. Yeah, and you just had to get started a little sooner.
You got a lot of cards there, don't you?
What was that one, sorry?
You have a lot of cards here, don't
Yeah.
you? You have
Let's
a blink.
spread them out, so so you got
Yeah, all good. You got a blink.
2 blinks, lightning bolt, magic missiles, arcane barrage, 2 common sense.
Yep. 36.
And a berry. 2 powerful.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see a way that that the Druid's going to get out of this, but it does seem at least fun to get Archimago to Death's Door.
Okay. I'll play a Geyser, and
I think the Root Spider has got to die, right?
Geyser my own thing.
What? No, no.
To
Oh, to give it airborne.
Dude.
Okay.
Away card. 2.
All right. So unfortunately, there's no good way for the Death's Door to happen. At least I don't see it.
I'll move here.
Mm-hmm.
Play a Rule of Full.
No, does not have charge. Does not have charge.
It won't have charge there because of the.
Oh right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the site placement was huge, right? Because if there was a site on 19, then Ruler of Thule could be played on 4 and then attack into 19. So yeah, a lot of things. If there had instead been a site on 5 and then the Wizard's Tower is on, Merlin's Tower is on 20, then you could also Ruler of Thule there.
I'll just play a Warhorse here. And thank you for 1.
Yeah.
And pass.
Game 1.
Yeah. So a lot of divine healings. This is not gonna. I think it's just done. I think you move over an Arcane Barrage. Yeah. So move to 17. And Arcane Barrage is the game.
I'm not used to having this many cards here. Sorry, I'm just gonna fan them out to see them properly.
Yeah.
The Arcane Barrage is off screen, but I'm not going to. I want the audience to know there is an Arcane Barrage. So
whoops, I didn't mean to throw myself off the board there. I'll just move here and I'll use the barrage to.
Yeah, Arcane Barrage for a bunch. Yep. Well played.
GG.
That was really that was a very close game and very well played.
In hand, I was like, I don't think you're gonna win if you have it in hand.
I completely overlooked it for the Pebble Pass. I was like, oh no, why'd I think that its ability is not activated?
Or maybe I'll just put the actual card like on the board so that people understand what.
Yes,
what
we know. Yeah, I did say that it was an Arcane Barrage.
Cool.
Yeah, that was really close.
Yeah, I was gonna adore you.
It was way closer
at some point if I had enough to get in one hit.
I mean, it did look close.
But then I had to play my Geyser to get rid of your Djinn. But I could have just played it then, got into duel. But I think the outcome would have been the same. GG, dude. Oh, that was intense.
Yeah.
I also had this in my hand as well. Alien and Fate. I'm trying to save it for a good play, but
that's why I had
to Yeah, I was trying to bait out one spider or something like to try and get it out. I should have.
You probably had a Geyser in there as well, so that's why I just had the Root Spider sitting here the whole game because I just give it to you for free on a Geyser. So
yeah. Yeah, and then also these two as well. Like, oh no, I can't even play it on there in case I have to. Yeah, yeah.
So you don't have the Courtesan Tice in your deck?
What does it know? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because that was the one I was like, oh, if
I
you have
played
that
around
now,
with it,
you're in
but
big trouble.
yeah.
Well, it's not obviously it's a kind of card that's fantastic sometimes and it's useless others, so it's always going to feel bad when it's
Yeah, because I'm playing
when it's useless. But
fire breathing as well. I want more beasts in my deck, so I'm not trying to run as many mortals apart from the high impact ones.
Thank you guys so much. That was really a pleasure to watch. There were many twists and turns. Bedrock Root Spider, very significant. It would have been a very different game if there had not been Root Spiders and Bedrocks. If there had been just Root Spiders or just Bedrocks, very different. So yeah, it was fascinating to watch. You guys will hear the commentary if you watch it later, but there were some points where just really interesting with the site placements. Because
for your commentary, I don't know what you do, but there was right at the start, there was a big decision point for me to play this Perilous Bridge. It could have been played here, for sure. That's why I was stalling there, because I was afraid that I would be wrapped around the side here. But I think this Valley of the Light was played here instead of here, and that really let me off big time.
Yeah, I saw that happening.
Like, if this Valley was here instead, then I had two sides, so obviously Ranvi didn't know what I had, but I didn't have a good site for there, right? So if he tried to wrap me, I would have just had to put a tower there, not use the extra mana, and not being able to, like, stop, like, no Root Spider could go there because it would just be geysered. The charge stuff wouldn't be stopped. Like, I would be forced to stop it. And I think it might have, made me 1 turn slower or him 1 turn faster, and that might have been enough potentially. It's hard to say, obviously, because everything's different once that happens. But
Yeah,
I
I
was
should have
very
played
worried
my.
about being wrapped because I had the Root Spider on a Bedrock, and I know that that's such a great, like, that just buys me so much time. So I was really, yeah. Anyway. And also, you could have just played a Smokestacks here and switched, like, Smokestacks can be very good in this matchup as well. If you
I was hoping for that.
you have that in your deck.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
I should have played my Fate a turn before, definitely to set up at least a Death's Door, but I was trying to hold on to it for some reason. I was so, like, I don't know, focused on this card. I'm like, how do I play this most optimally? But yeah. I had 2 of these as well, which is happy.
But this is a card that that's why that's a
Happy
predominant reason the
about that I
Bedrocks are in the
finally
deck.
drew
We
these
also play
solutions.
Powers. We even play Lookout instead of stuff just because it's ordinary. Like, so this
Yeah.
is quite a damaging card for this deck, and you had to, like, you got to play the Bedrocks and a whole bunch of ordinary sites to not be, because there's games where you could just switch off all of the air thresholds or all of the earth thresholds even. Like, it's such a problematic card. It's even why, for example, we play, where is it? We play Dispel instead of Disenchant, just because if you Fate and we lose all the air thresholds, then you can comment, if you common sense for Disenchant, you can't get rid of it. So, because most people would do the other way, because of Philosopher's Stone to get the double discount, but it's just, this is such a powerful card, and everybody plays it, obviously, that plays Water, because it's so good. So,
did you know that Wolf and I was playing Water at before you started the game?
Did I
Or
know?
did you
Well, I don't know.
guess?
I didn't know I didn't. I guess, yeah, because he's Druid. So I know that there are versions of Druid that don't, but most of the meta at the moment is Firewater Druid. Firewater is ridiculously strong though. Like, not just with Druid, with Sorcerer as well. Very strong archetype.
Yeah.
But also I just had Root Spider, so, like, Bedrock Root Spider is just pretty solid against everything. Anyway, like, it's not just against water that it's really good.
Sure.
For any deck to deal with that, unless they've got,
Yeah, if the River of Flame had come out earlier, it could have taken care of the root spiders, but or Fields of Camlin could have taken care of one. Well, guys, thank you very much. It was really a pleasure getting to watch that game. Lots of interesting twists and turns, and congratulations on the win. Congratulations making it to the finals, and looking forward to playing more games with you in the future.
Thanks,
Thank
Ira.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks, Rambo.
Thanks,
Thanks
man.
for the game.